Well, hey again, guys. As I mentioned in my video the other day when I was doing a walk around on my 69 XL, I said I found a fuel leak in my 69 Mach 1. So today I'm doing a little investigative work, and I found that actually it's the fuel pump that's leaking. And this is a 351 Windsor on my 69 Mach 1. And the fuel pump, of course, this is an air-conditioned car, as you can see. The fuel pump is nestled way behind here, behind the power steering pump. See if I can get a better view of it over here. Get a little more light down there. I don't know if you can see the oil filter there, and it is to the left of the oil filter. You can see a little hint of blue in there. So if I wanted to take it out from the top, I'd have to take the power steering pump out. But I put it up on the lift, and it looks like I can get to it a little easier from underneath. If I take the fuel filter off, I should be able to get to it better from underneath. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lift it up. It'll give me an opportunity to change the oil as well. So I'm going to go and get some parts, and we'll start taking this guy apart, and I'll be back and show you what I'm doing. Okay, guys, I got the car up on the lift. I just drained the oil out and took the oil filter off. You see the drain pan here. Got a little better view of the fuel pump. There it is right there. And there's one of the bolts. You can see that a little to the left. The other bolts can be a little difficult to get to because the oil sending unit's in the way, but I think I'll be able to manage it. But what I got to do first is take these lines loose. This one's from the tank. This one goes to the carburetor. I'll take those off, and I'm going to block this one off here so I don't siphon fuel out of the tank. And we'll start taking those bolts out and try to get that fuel pump out here from the bottom. So let me get it from the other side here if I can. Yeah, you can see it there. That's the oil sending unit right there above it. So it's kind of in the way, but I should be able to work around it. We'll see. Well, I got it out. Wasn't too bad to get out. This bolt was blocked, like I said, with the oil sender, but I was able to get a thin socket in there and get it out. See the two vent holes here. That's where the fuel was leaking from, so it kind of tells me the diaphragm is ruptured. Fuel pump's probably 25 years old, so that's not too bad considering today's terrible gasoline. But anyway, so when my new one comes in, I'll paint it up and I'll put it on the engine. One of the things you want to be sure of when you put fuel pumps back in is to grease up the follower here that goes on the cam eccentric, and you want to put a little moly grease or something on there so that it doesn't get a dry startup when you put it in. And we'll show that more when we get the new one on there. Two connections. One was this connection here going to the carburetor, which I had to use a flare nut wrench or a line wrench, some people call them. And this was just a hose connection with a worm clamp on it going to the tank. They weren't too bad to come off. The only one that was tough to get to, like I said, was this one here that was kind of blocked by the oil sending unit, but working by feel, I was able to get it in and out of there. So anyway, we'll tune back in once the new fuel pump comes in. Well, guys, I'm back here with my fuel pumps. Had a little bit of a dilemma getting the replacement pump. This is the original fuel pump. You can see it's got a 3/8 inlet here. And like I said, the fuel was running out of the vent holes here, so I knew the diaphragm was ruptured. So I went to one of the big box high performance stores on the internet. I won't name which one. And I found one, I ordered one. It came in. This is not it, but it's very similar. But it had a 5/16 fuel inlet on it, which was not correct. So I returned that guy to those people. They took it back with no problem. So I did a little searching on the internet, and I found this one, and it had the 3/8 fuel inlet on it. So I ordered it, and this came from one of the Mustang big box stores you find on the internet. It came in, and as you can see, the diaphragm is a little bit smaller, but I figured 50 years worth of fuel pump technology, maybe they got a little better. But this worked. But one thing I noticed, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but the follower has probably 3/16 of an inch play in there. And I was concerned that when this thing would run following the cam eccentric, I'd get a tick from the fuel pump. I certainly didn't want that. The original one, it's got a little bit of play, maybe conservatively a 1/16 of an inch, but nowhere near what that is. I did a little more research, and I found that this one with the 3/8 inlet is actually for a Ford pickup truck. Now, I've owned the Mustang since about 1977, 78, so it's possible somebody put this fuel pump on it from a truck. But what concerned me, or puzzled me, was the line coming from the tank is also a 3/8 inch line. So if the Mustang would have a 5/16 inlet on it, you would think the line coming from the tank would be 5/16. So I was a little concerned with that, and the line is original. I've traced it back all the way to the tank. It's a 3/8 line. So I wanted to put a 3/8 line pump back on it. Of course, I could have made the 5/16 work, but I didn't want to. So once I got this and I determined that we really had a truck fuel pump, I said, well, I'm not going to put this one on because of that. So I'm going to send this one back to the Mustang big box store. So I contacted my local NAPA Napa dealer, and knowing that this was off of a truck, they ordered me the right one. It's got the 3/8 inlet on it. It's correct. It's got a little bit of play just like the other one, maybe about a 1/16 of an inch. So I'm a lot more pleased with knowing I'm going to put this one on. So I'm going to paint the top of it up here like this one was painted. So I'm going to get that painted, and then we'll be putting it back on the truck. So just wanted to mention that to you. And like I said, I'll go over and I'll put the assembly grease on it and everything. But that this was just unacceptable here. I can't believe this was even sent out like this. It may run quiet, but I didn't want to take the chance. So at any rate, I feel better with this pump here. I'll be back once I get it painted up, and we'll put it on the car. Okay guys, I'm back. I got this guy all painted up. I taped it off and spray painted it the Ford blue that I like. There's a dark and a light. I like the light color better. So I painted that up and it's all dry. So I said I was going to put some of the assembly lube. That's just what this is. It's pretty messy stuff, but put that here on the follower where it's going to run on the cam eccentric. That way it'll get a good start instead of a dry start once the oil gets on it. For the gasket, I like to use copper coat. This is a spray copper coat. There's also a roll-on copper coat. I like to use this on any kind of paper or cork gasket. It doesn't squeeze out, and if it does get into the oil, it's not going to stop up anything like silicone is, and it's always a good thing. And the gaskets usually come off fairly easy if you ever have to change them again. So I like the copper coat. I'm going to spray some of that on there and stick this on and get it stuck to the fuel pump, and then I'll start putting it up into the car. Anyway, just wanted to show you that, and I'll start getting it up in the car and I'll get back with you. All right guys, I got the fuel pump back in. A little bit of a hassle here. This pump had a little bit different design over top of the diaphragm, which made getting a socket to the back of the bolts pretty difficult. This one wasn't too bad, but again, the other side was pretty tough. So I ended up having to take out the oil sender and the extension here so that I could get a socket back up in there. Just a little more trouble, a little more hassle, but anyway, I got it on there. Got all the lines on there, the 3H fuel line from the tank and the line going up to the carburetor. Now I'm going to put on the oil filter. One of the things I like to do, and there's a lot of controversy about it, I like to pre-fill my oil filter with oil. Now I can't fill it all the way up on this one because it's at an angle, but I can fill it about halfway. I like to fill it up because it takes less time for oil to get to the engine. And they've done studies on this. I know there's a lot of controversy about it. People say it's not really worth the trouble, but I feel it is. It gives you a couple seconds more oil quicker to the engine. And they've actually done studies on the engine particulates, you know, the copper and and the babbitt and stuff like that. And there's less of it in the engine oil when you pre-fill the filter. So I always do it. It doesn't hurt anything whether you're a believer or not, but I always like to do it, and it really doesn't cost anything to put the oil in the filter before you fill it. So that's what I'm going to do, get the oil filter on here, and we'll let it down off the lift and put the rest of the oil in. I got everything back together. While I had it apart, I went ahead and painted a few things and cleaned up a few things. So I poured some gas in the carburetor, and hopefully we'll see if this boy will start right up. Well, that worked out well. Don't see any leaks down there. Sounds good. Well, I'm really happy with that result. Took a little longer than I anticipated by getting the right fuel pump and having a little hassle putting it in, but overall I'm pleased with the results. Take care till next time, guys. Please like and subscribe if this helped you out.